guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Kazzy here, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I have either read or bought because I'm a fangirl. Now this is going to be slightly different than probably what you might be expecting, because like there's a fangirl of being a fan of the author or being a fangirl because you love the series. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about, you know, like Harry Potter or Percy Jackson. I'm talking about books that I have bought or read because it's either mentioned in my favorite TV shows, a favorite actress has been in a film adaptation, or an actress has like talked about them. Yep, I'm fickle like that, but you'll figure out what I mean as we get into them. So without further ado, let's just talk about the books that I bought or read because I'm a fangirl. I'm gonna get a couple out of the way because I physically just don't have them right now. I've either said goodbye to them or I just can't find them. So right out of the gate, the first one is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. You're probably thinking you should have read that anyway because it's a classic, but nope, I haven't. I wanted to read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea because it is mentioned in Star Trek Voyager in an episode called 30 Days, and it's one of the favourite books of Lieutenant Tom Paris. And he's talking about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea when he's talking to Captain Janeway about his love for underwater exploration and things like that. She says she loved it, and literally I'm trash for Captain Janeway, and anything she loves, that's rude of you, Sarah. She just fell down. And so because it's mentioned in Star Trek Voyager, I just wanted to read it. And I'm kind of glad that I did, because it's funny in that 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea actually plays quite a part in a two-parter episode called Year of Hell. A character called Anorex is pretty much Captain Nemo, but has a flipped name from Aronnax, which is the professor in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So that was very interesting. And then also, the book also plays a part in Sanctuary, which you've probably heard me mention about 20,000 times on this channel, because Magnus calls her submarine, the Nautilus. And so it's kind of fitting that I actually got around to reading that. The next book that I bought because of Star Trek Voyager was Inferno by Dante. And this was Captain Catherine Janeway's book that was gifted to her by her fiancé. She says she's never lent it to anyone, and this is like a part in a season 7 episode called Shattered, and Chakotay quotes that book. And she's saying that she didn't know Dante's Inferno was on the Maki reading list, and he says, actually I borrowed your copy. And she tells him that her fiancé gave her that book as an engagement gift, she'd never lent it to anyone. And he's like, well, not yet. So that just like cements how much like she's supposed to like trust him in the years to come, and I wanted to read it. I have no idea where my copy is. I haven't read it yet, but I bought it, so that's why it's on this list. A book that I picked up because Amelia Fox does the audiobook is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I have no idea what this book is about really, and even when I listened to the audiobook when I had it, it was a bit of an abridged version. I really have no idea what this book is about. I haven't read it yet. It is on my TBR because Amelia Fox is associated with it, so I want to read it. Speaking of things Amelia Fox is related to, I also picked up The Picture of Dorian Gray, and she was in the film adaptation with Colin Firth as his wife, and so I picked the book up, read it, didn't particularly like it. Loved the concept of it, but didn't particularly like it. And so that's why it was in my book on haul, which is one of my more recent videos. That's why I pretty much just bought it, because Amelia Fox is in a film adaptation of it. Like with Never Let Me Go, Amelia Fox also read the audiobook for The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory. I listened to this in work in the morning when like there's no customers around. Yeah, I've had that audiobook for a while. I wasn't in any kind of rush to listen to it, but then after listening to Born with Teeth by Kate Mulgrew, the audiobook, I decided, right, I'm just going to do another audiobook, and started with that one. It wasn't bad, it wasn't great either. I enjoyed it, Amelia Fox does a good job with it, but I literally just listened to it for her. I had no real desire to read that book, but I listened to it, so done. I also picked up Labyrinth by Kate Moss purely because Katie McGrath, aka Morgana from Merlin, aka Lena Luthor from Supergirl, was in the Channel 4 adaptation of this book. Haven't read it yet, but I bought it. No idea what it's really about. I know she plays I know Katie McGrath plays the bad guy in it, the villain. I didn't particularly watch the entire miniseries, but I got this, so need to read it. But look at it, it's like so big and thick. At least the text isn't minute. So I might get to this eventually. I might. I don't know. Who knows? East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Probably should have been reading this in high school, but this wasn't part of our curriculum. It wasn't even part of a curriculum in university. I only picked this up because Jane Seymour is in a mini-series of it, and I watched it on YouTube. And holy sweet Kit Kat, was it incredible. Jane Seymour plays Kathy in it, and I think that that is my favorite role of Jane Seymour's ever. And I've watched her in quite a few things, but I love her as Kathy over Dr. Michaela Quinn, over Solitaire, even over Kitty Cat. So after watching the miniseries, I decided to pick this up and see if there was anything different. This pretty much follows it to a T. I haven't finished it. I will one day finish this because I absolutely adored it. I love Kathy. She's probably one of my favorite literary characters. Jane Seymour is why I picked this up, because I loved the miniseries adaptation so much. And now we've got to the person that has influenced my book buying habits quite a bit, especially this year, I want to say, and that is Kate Mulgrew. As I've said in previous videos, I've been a fan of her since I was 11 years old, and she's a voracious reader. She adores reading. She recommends books sometimes when people ask her what she's reading, what her favorite books are. And so there are times when I'm like, oh, I want to read War and Peace, and I'm just like, no. Or Dr. Zhivago, no. But there are books that I have read and bought because she mentioned them. And so the first one in that list is Daddy by Danielle Steele. My mom is a huge fan of Danielle Steele. She has literally every book she's ever written. When I realized that Kate Mulgrew was in a adaptation of one of Danielle Steele's books, I had to read it. She is the character called Sarah. She's the mother in it, and she's not a particularly likable character. I watched the adaptation and then I read the book, and of course the adaptation is completely different. Nevertheless, I read it for Kate Mulgrew. Another book that I read because she's in a film adaptation of it is A Stranger is Watching by Mary Higgins Clark. That was also in my book on haul that I did recently. Again, I didn't watch the film adaptation. When I read the book, I was like, okay, this is heavy. This wasn't what I was expecting. It's a bit of a thriller and a mystery, and it just wasn't my cup of tea, but I pretty much just read it for Kate Mulgrew. I also have the audiobook for her play called Tate 5 by Matthew Lombardo about the life of Katharine Hepburn. In Act 1, Katharine Hepburn is early 30s, and she's just waiting on word to hear about this play called The Philadelphia Story that they're going to do. She's just been labelled box office poison, and, you know, she's just reminiscing about what her career was like, and then, you know, what she's going to do next. And in Act 2, she's just come off of a very bad car accident, and so she's recuperating at home, and she's talking about what's happening now, and then she talks about Spencer Tracy, and I love it. I wanted to actually see it when it was on stage at the time, but I was like 14, 15, so there was no way that my parents were gonna like go to New York or wherever to let me watch this, so oh well. So the audiobook is the best that I'm going to get. So I was very happy with listening to it. So now I'm going to go into the one that is not a big surprise that I bought because I'm a fangirl, and that is Born with Teeth by Kate Mulgrew, which is her memoir. I had been waiting for her to pen a book for I don't know how long because she has just such a way with words. She's so eloquent and she's so articulate that I was like, yes, I need her to write a book. She has some amazing anecdotes and some great stories to tell, and this book just is the best thing ever. I've read it twice and I've listened to the audiobook once, and I already want to read it a third time. I just absolutely adore this book so much, and of course I was going to get it because of Kate Mulgrew. I have 4 copies of it, 3 hardback and 1 audiobook, and I want more. It's Kate Mulgrew, come on. And the next 3 books I'm going to show you are books that she mentioned in an interview at the end of the Born with Teeth memoir audiobook. And it's an interview with Rosie O'Donnell, and somebody asks her, you know, who did she have on hand when she was writing, you know, to get inspiration from, like a writing style inspiration from, and she was like saying, oh, Edna O'Brien. And I tried to find books by Edna O'Brien, found a few, but none of them actually really jumped out at me, like saying, buy me, buy me. And the other author that she mentions is Colm Tóibín, and he's an Irish author, and I don't really have a lot of Irish authors on my bookshelves or on my TBR. It's not that I don't like Irish authors, it's just that they're not really showcased all that well over here. I have a couple of books by my former English high school teacher, so that's pretty much all I have right now, but now I also have 3 books by Colm Tóibín. Tóibín. Oh my god, that surname is so hard to say. I'm trying to say Tóibín, but because my brain is just like going it's disaster. So Colm Tóibín. See, I did it there again. Tóibín. Just like Toby, but Tóibín. There you go. Colm Tóibín. I have this one, House of Names, which I got Marshmallows the other day. It's actually signed by the author. I hadn't planned on getting this one, but I read the inside of it, and it is about Agamemnon and his sacrifice of Iphigenia before sailing off to Troy. And Clytemnestra is furious at this, and so when he comes back from Troy, she murders him. And then their daughter Electra and Orestes are like trying to deal with the repercussions of this, and I had to buy this, again, not because of Kate Mulgrew, not because it's just written by Colm Tóibín, but because it is Agamemnon. She played Clytemnestra in a play years ago called Iphigenia 2.0. Of course I was going to get this because she plays Clytemnestra, and I'm guessing Clytemnestra is going to be mentioned quite a lot in this book, and I love Greek mythology as well. Fangirl for Kate Mulgrew, fangirl for Greek mythology, a Colm Tóibín, sold to the highest bidder. And then these two I just got because they were just there and quite cheap. So I got Nora Webster, and set in Wexford, Ireland, Colm Tóibín's magnificent 8th novel introduces the formidable, memorable and deeply moving Nora Webster. Widowed in her 40s with 4 children and not enough money, Nora has lost the love of her life, Morris, the man who rescued her from the stifling world to which she was born. And now she fears she may be sucked back into it, wounded, selfish, strong-willed, clinging to secrecy in a tiny community where everyone knows your business. Nora is drowning in her own sorrow and blind to the suffering of her young sons who have lost their father. Yet she has moments of stunning insight and empathy, and when she begins to sing again after decades, she finds solace in engagements, a haven herself. Not the typical book that I just go for, but it just sounded like something different, and sometimes when you read so much fantasy, you just want something different, and I think Colm Tóibín will actually give that to me, and because, you know, he's highly regarded by Kate Mulgrew, why not? And also by Colm Tóibín, I also picked up Brooklyn, which I think was the one that was turned into a movie last year. And I can also say this is also a fangirl thing, not purely for Kate Mulgrew. If this is the book that I think the movie is based off of, then Emily Bett Rickards is in it, and she plays Felicity Smoke in Arrow, and I love Arrow. I'm not caught up on Arrow, I'm about a season behind. So I also get Felicity Smoke in this book. So it is Ireland in the 1950s, and for Eilish Lacey, as for so many young Irish girls, opportunities are scarce. So when her sister arranges for her to emigrate to New York, Eilish knows she must go, leaving behind her family and home for the first time. Arriving in a crowded lodging house in Brooklyn, Eilish can only be reminded of what she has sacrificed. She is far from home and homesick. Then, just as she takes tentative steps towards friendship and perhaps something more, Eilish receives news which sends her back to Ireland. There she will be confronted by a terrible dilemma, devastating choice between duty and one great love. Again, as I said, not probably a book that I would instantly reach for. It just sounds like something different, sounds like something fun, something Irish. You know, as much as I don't have Irish authors, I still love things that are set in Ireland because I'm Irish. Like, I know my accent doesn't sound like it half the time, but that's because I lighten it so that everybody can understand me, and so half the time I'm asked if I'm American when I'm not. It's either American or Canadian that I'm always asked if I am. I'm not. I am Irish. It's for you guys so you can understand me. I really like the sound of this, and because like it has Irish names, I love encountering Irish names in books. I would love to know how people that aren't Irish, and when they encounter names like Eilish, what they're like. You know, E-I-L-I-S, Eilish. And even in The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, there's a couple of Irish names like Orla and Neve, but then she kind of spells Neve weird. So yes, those are all of the books that I have bought or read or listened to because I am a fangirl and because, you know, I have no self-control, and let's just say because with Star Trek Voyager and Kate Mulgrew, I'm a bit of a sheep. I just follow where they tell me to do, which is why I have 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Dante, and pretty much anything that Kate Mulgrew says to read except for like the big ones like Dr. Zhivago and War and Peace and Crime and Punishment. I'll have to work my way up to those, okay, Kate? Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what books you've bought or read or listened to because it has been mentioned on a television show, or your favorite actor or actress has been in a film adaptation. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!